Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. Welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Topper_Talk, and head over to our YouTube channel at Topper Talk Podcast. Subscribe over there, get an update every time we release a new episode. As always, I've got Tyler here with me. We've got a lot to dive into today. Tyler, you ready to get started?
Yeah, man. Like I said, we got a lot to get into, so let's get into it.
Before we do that, let's talk about our sponsor, and that is the Fireman Moving Company. They are the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. And I promise you, it'll be worth the time, the effort, and whatever the cost is. I promise you, it's going to save you a headache of just a hassle of moving. I mean, they're professionals. Let them do it for you. I promise you, they're going to take good care of you. As always, we've got the Red Towel wrap up to jump into. We need to get caught up on all the WKU athletics that we've missed since we last recorded. So, Tyler, hit us with that Red Towel wrap up.
All right, so on 11/29 men's basketball whipped Campbellsville to a score of 101-77. And then on 12-1, the volleyball team went into the NCAA tournament and swept Coastal Carolina 3-0. On 12-2, women's basketball sadly lost 52-76 to Oregon State. And then this next one kind of hurts. Volleyball went in and they lost to Tennessee. They got swept 0-3. But then on a brighter note, men's basketball turned right around and whipped those Colonels from Eastern Kentucky 79-69. That's it for the Red Towel wrap up. Moff, back to you.
Yeah, and this episode we're really just going to kind of expound on all that Red Towel wrap up. We're going to dive into that a little bit more, talk some transfer portal. We're not going to preview the bowl game just yet. We're still working on a special guest, hopefully, for that episode, and hopefully recording that episode early next week. So first, let's talk about the volleyball team. You just mentioned they swept Coastal Carolina in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. Then they played Tennessee in the the regional final there. It was at Tennessee. They were ranked number 3, so it was a really tough SEC school. They had a lot of what you just have to call SEC size. I mean, they had some big girls that were playing very good defense and had some good hitters as well. So WKU battled, but ultimately fell in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Now, our program is one of 12 in the nation out of 344 volleyball programs to finish the season ranked in the top 25 and win a game in the NCAA tournament in the last 5 years, to do it all 5 of the years. So a pretty impressive, just a dynasty, what Travis Hudson has built over there. And it's really nice to see the fan support starting to back up, what this program has become on the Hill, which is the most consistent winner, head and shoulders by far. It's not even close how dominant and how consistent they are as far as being the best program and the measuring stick for, where all of our other programs would like to get to as far as sustained winning and postseason appearances, and then even winning in the postseason and being ranked in the top 25. I mean, they're just impressive year in and year out. Tyler, what's your thoughts on just the volleyball program and just the sustained dominance that we've seen from them, and especially this year?
Well, I mean, as you always say, death taxes and the volleyball team just kicking ass. Tip the hat to them, take the hat off to them completely. Them girls have always showed up, showed out. I actually had it right here. They ended the regular season. Where is it? In the regular season, 35 and 30-5, and then the conference. They went undefeated, 16-0. I mean, that's so impressive, and I think it's time for them to end up. I'm glad the fan support's jumping behind them because them girls absolutely deserve it. Travis Hudson, he's doing an awesome job. Always have his team ready to get to the NCAA tournament and just complete domination of all of Conference USA since we've been in here. I don't. I wish he would, maybe coach give lessons to the other coaches somehow to get us, to get them coaching like that. But man, I mean, to see what he has done over the years is just amazing, and I'm so happy for them girls. I wish they could have went on a little bit farther, but man, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, they had an amazing season.
Yeah, and now the men's basketball team, they also got back on the winning side of things. They had a fairly easy victory over Campbellsville. During that game at halftime, um, we were able to bring Malachi Corley out and honor him. Just for the record-breaking season he had, becoming the all-time receptions leader at WKU. He's from Campbellsville, so it's pretty special for him to be showcased in front of what was surely probably a lot of friends and family, and what was a special moment for him. Just by if you follow him on Instagram or Twitter at all, he was very appreciative of that gesture and being shown some love there. And then WKU also played EKU this past weekend. Um, kind of a rough start to the game. EKU came out hot. WKU not so much. But in that second half, we really just kind of turned it on defensively, and was really able to pull away and get a really, really solid and convincing victory. Um, the defense really looked solid that second half of the EKU game. As we talked to Tim McAllister earlier tonight, he really just said, that second half of that EKU game was really this team, starting to realize their potential, lock down on defense, not foul, turn defense into offense, just all come together, make good shots. It really just kind of all culminated into just a really good second half of that ball game, and something that we hope will obviously continue going forward as we go forward into a couple road games before we have Austin P here back at home. I was really impressed with Don McHenry and Christian Lander on those two victories. I really think those guys have kind of stepped up and been just really valuable pieces for the basketball team. So what are your thoughts on the basketball team and getting back on track in the win column?
Well, yeah, I tell you, it is. We got to on the season right now. We're 6-3. Of course, those three losses: Wichita State, Canisius, and UNC Asheville. Um, that win on Campbellsville, Western shot 48.1% on the field goals, 34.3% from 3-point land, and 75% on free throws, hitting 15 out of 20. We also had 21 assists and had 8 steals. This defense of this basketball team, it's compared to what we have seen, it has been so much better. Actually, Landers in Campbellsville, he was the points leader for Western. He had 22 points. Faye was the leading rebounder, and the assist leader was Jalen Jackson. Landers had 22 points. Faye had 9 rebounds, and Jackson had 6 assists. Versus EKU, we shot 40.6% from the field goals. And you're right, that first half was not our best half. Second half though, we really turned on. We were shooting 44% from 3-point land and 75% again on free throws, hitting 12 of 16. We also forced 18 turnovers and had 10 steals, and we only coughed the ball up for 12 turnovers. And in that game, Newman led the team in points, rebounds, and assists with 19, 9, and 5. So, I think those two games were, hey, playing against EKU and, Isaiah Cozart, he leads the nation right now in blocks. I mentioned that earlier tonight to you and Tim McAllister. as Randy Lee said on the radio whenever I was driving to the game, Cozart's, he had 30 blocks in 5 games. I'm not sure the number he had against us, but
it was a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It was more than a few, but no, I think the basketball, team is getting where it needs to be. Lander, Dante Allen, Jalen Jackson. If they can't get to 3, at least Don McHenry is playing great ball right now. I like how this team is gelling together, molding together, and I think if we keep up the defensive intensity and learn from our 3 losses, I think we'll be in a good shape whenever conference turns around. Because there's a few teams there I'm kind of worried about, but I think we can handle them.
Yeah, and then looking at the women's basketball team, you mentioned that loss to Oregon State. Now we were without our kind of our freshman star player there. Caitlin Stanley has missed some time. We've noticed that we've struggled a couple games without her. She's a big presence, a big body in the middle that has kind of early in the season when she was healthy, this team was rattling off some victories with her and Faustino and Acacia Hayes. We've got a good team there, but we really need her to get back healthy, get back on the court, and just help lead this team to some more victories. As we get past finals week here, and then they'll get back into action. And now the football team is preparing for the famous Toastery Bowl in Charlotte versus ODU. That game's on 12/18. Now, since the season has ended, we've seen a lot of players enter the transfer portal, and that's not anything abnormal. That's every college program across the nation right now. The portal giveth, the portal taketh away. Right now we're in the tide is going out. The portal is taking away at the moment. So let's talk about who we've seen hit the portal officially as of right now, and this is. Officially, they've announced it on social media. So this is long snapper Trey Naughton, offensive lineman Wyatt Anderson, kicker Antonio Chata, punter Tom Ellard, defensive tackle Darian Goodrum, offensive lineman Wes Dorsey, linebacker Desmond Baker, offensive lineman Vinny Murphy, defensive back Amari Smith, defensive back Manny Moss, kicker Nolan McCord, offensive lineman Mason Williams, quarterback Caden Veltkamp, offensive lineman Quintavious Leslie, defensive back Upton Stout, cornerback TJ Springer, cornerback Abdul Latif Adu, and cornerback Josh Shadipo. So a lot of names there, a lot to digest. A few impact guys in that list. But we have to remember, just because they entered the portal doesn't mean they're gone. That list of guys, several of those guys could return. So we just kind of have to wait and see how that plays out. So, Tyler, what are your thoughts on this? Just the new normal. The season has ended, and guys are exploring their options and seeing what else is out there. What's your thoughts on the guys in the portal?
Well, I'm not really thrilled about it because, really our offensive line, I think I've counted five offensive linemen, hitting the portal. You kind of like for those people to stay and, have some chemistry together. I hate to see Upton Stout, maybe he'll withdraw his name because, he has 29 total tackles, 5 sacks, one pick six, one forced fumble, and one scoop and score. Desmond Baker, he had 42 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble, which one of his interceptions came whenever we won. What game was that? He caught in the end zone.
La Tech.
Was it La Tech? I thought it was there towards. He had one of the interceptions there in the last home game, senior night.
New Mexico State.
Damn, I'm drawing a blank on this. But sorry everybody. And then you got Quintavious Leslie, the all offensive, all Conference USA offensive line player. Um, been here for years. Yeah, you hate to see him, um, you know, feel like he can I hope he withdraws his name too. But man, I mean, there's so many players that you would like to see. They say like, hey, I'm withdraw their names, and I hope they do. Um, but as you say, the portal giveth, and the portal taketh away. So I mean, if they do go and they find somewhere better for them, better fit, hey, I'm always going to cheer for them. I hope they're happy. I hope they get what they're looking for. And I hope the players that we can bring in really kick ass. That's where I'm going to leave it at.
Yeah, I mean this batch of guys. I mean, a lot of it is depth pieces. We a starter on here, long snapper Trey Naughton. Then you got Tom Ellard. Obviously, we know he didn't play the last few games of the season for personal reasons. You've got Wes Dorsey and Vinny Murphy, Quintavious Leslie. Three starters on the offensive line. You've got Desmond Baker, starter at linebacker. You got Upton Stout, starter at cornerback. Then you got Caden Velkamp, the local kid. Big 6'5", 6'6", potential future starting quarterback for us, who just has gotten, you know, shuffled in the depth chart behind, Austin Reed. Um, and then, maybe going forward, we're just not sure where we're going to look in the quarterback room after this year. Would we turn to one of those guys, Turner Helton or Caden Velkamp, or do we go portaling again and try to find somebody with experience and game tape that has played a lot? You don't know. But he has decided to check his options outside of Western Kentucky. Again, several of these guys, I hope they return. I would not be surprised to see at least one or two of them return. That's just optimistic me. I think our collective and maybe just the options and just the things that we can do and provide will prove to be worth them coming back. Now, in other news, WKU football related as well, it has been reported that WKU is targeting former Mississippi State offensive line coach for a quote high ranking offensive position. Didn't specify what position on the coaching staff, just said high ranking. He did coach with Coach Helton at the University of Tennessee in 2018. He was the offensive line coach there, while Helton was the offensive coordinator. Tyler, I guess what's your thoughts on this, potential addition to the staff?
Sorry about that. Trying to figure out this keyboard and everything with the program. Um, I like that we can bring in a SEC, offensive line coach. But whenever it got announced, I saw some on Twitter that showed that a bunch of the fans was really being like, "Did y'all really fall that far?" Really just talking them down. I hope they were just trying to get us to rile against him so we don't get him. Um, but I mean, I definitely want to look into what he did and look at his background and see how he has did at his previous jobs. But I mean, if Hilton likes him and Hilton knows him and works with him, I don't know if I'd question Hilton's judgment on some of the people that he wants to hire.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned, multiple times that Coach Helton is very quick to adapt and very quick to make adjustments in needed areas. We saw that after 2020 with the Piggy T experiment, bringing in obviously Kitley and a slew of offensive weapons that turned us around really quickly in 21. We kept that momentum going in 22 with Arbuckle at offensive coordinator, and we took a step back this year. Now we haven't seen anything official about what position that Will Friend will be coaching, but you have to expect and suspect that with the offensive, I don't want to say struggles, but just inconsistency that we saw this year, that there's going to be a shakeup, and we haven't seen any official news of staff being let go, etc. Obviously, there's still a bowl game to play, um, but if we're bringing somebody on, somebody's going away. Somebody's either they've taken another job, they're gonna get fired, they're gonna get let go, whatever it is. You don't bring somebody on without somebody else having to go away. So, you kind of have to defer to Helton in this situation. You have to hope that he's making the right decision and doing what's best for this team and this offense. And like you said, he knows this guy. They've coached together before, so this is somebody he's familiar with. And you have to hope that it's somebody that's going to bring positive value to the team and what we need to improve next year and be more consistent. It was also announced that Austin Reed was invited to and accepted an invitation to play in the East West Shrine Bowl, one of the postseason All Star games for seniors, upperclassmen, potentially playing against other draft hopefuls. So, what are your thoughts on Austin Reed and getting to showcase his skills in the postseason?
I think that's a great opportunity for him. I hope he excels in that because, I'm hoping to see another WKU quarterback get into the league. We've had a good line of them. So I couldn't be happier for the man. I just hope he goes out there and shows the draft people and the NFL scouts what he can do. And I'd also like to Desmond Baker. I'm backtracking a little bit. Desmond Baker got the interception in the end zone versus New Mexico State. I looked it up. I completely zoned out on New Mexico State, but that game got us bowl eligibility. I'm sorry, I just had to go back to that because it was eating at me. But no, I hope Reed goes and shows out and balls out there at the East West game, man.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any official announcement of it of bowl game and if he's going to play or not play. Kind of when you get to this point of the season and you have a senior with draft prospects, you never know. Um, and the optimistic side of me wants to say, well, if he's going to play in the East West Shrine Bowl, then he's going to surely play in the bowl game. But we don't know. We haven't heard. It's not been officially announced yet. What the game plan is for the bowl game. So watch and wait. We'll see what happens. And speaking of WKU quarterbacks, as we record, it's early Friday morning, but Thursday night, we just saw Bailey Zappi get some playing time on Thursday Night Football and have a good 3 touchdown performance for the Patriots and get the Steelers, led them to a victory. So always nice to see a former WKU quarterback doing big things in the National Football League. We hope he continues to get that starting opportunity with the Patriots now that they've seen the light that Mac Jones just isn't that good, and Bailey Zappi is better. No matter which round he was taken in, he's a better football player and quarterback. Now let's look at some of the postseason awards that were given out for Conference USA. We had a first team selection in Malachi Corley. No surprise there. We had a couple second teamers in Kendrick Simpkins and Hosea Wheeler. We had some guys on the honorable mention list. That's Austin Reed, Vincent Murphy, Anthony Johnson, Lucas Canero, Easton Messer, Trey Naughton. And then on the all freshman team, we had Katie Hutchinson, Easton Messer, Musa Berry, Noah Myers, Evan Wibberly, Deontay McCray, Alex Ford, Karan Hayward, Nas Reed, Reginald Allen, Lucas Canero, Trey Naughton. So again, just a big bunch of guys. I got some, postseason awards there. Not as many first and second team as we would have liked to have seen. Several honorable mention guys, and then a lot of just good young talent on that freshman team. So, Tyler, what about these All CUSA guys? What do you think about those?
Man, it makes me happy to see the freshmen getting the love. Like Easton Messer and all of them and newcomers. It just means the future's bright for Western Kentucky. Because whenever I saw that tweet and had them all pictured there and listed out, it just made me think, man, the future of WKU football is in good hands if they all stay. And then Malachi Corley, first team. That's a no-brainer. I do think he got snubbed in Offensive Player of the Year, though. I feel like he definitely should have gotten that, but it's whatever. They're going to give it to what was it, New Mexico State quarterback, whatever loser. Um, and Kendrick Simpkins, Jose Wheeler. I think those two perfect. I think they probably should have got maybe first team all defense, but you know we do have some good players on the team. Um, the all freshman Katie Hutchinson, Musa Berry, Dante McCray, all of them. Lucas Canario, perfect, but just for a few field goals that he missed. I'm sure he'll clean them up though, and next year he'll get first team, special teams or whatever. But no, I'm thrilled to see these players get the recognition that they do deserve, um, because they have played their butts off and they have done great things. So I'm happy with it.
And it's really interesting to me to note that of all those guys listed, some guys that we didn't have listed, and mainly these guys were not listed because of injuries. And I'm talking about Upton Stout. I'm talking about Jaquez Evans. Um, just guys that we expected to come in and be impact players this year, and just missed a lot of time, and weren't able to just have enough impact. I think Upton Stout when he played was incredible. Same for a Donut when he played was incredible. Just missed too much time though. You can't miss that much time and expect to be on the postseason list. So kind of now the attention turns to all these guys, especially the freshmen. Hopefully we can keep them around. With the transfer portal as it is, if you have young talent that shows promise, that's when you start having bigger programs come around knocking and saying, "Hey, would you like to come over here?" Now, the last item to discuss earlier tonight, we got to attend the Red Towel Trust launch event party at the Jim and Eva Martins Alumni Center. Was just a really cool event. It was nice for both you and I. We got to be there representing, the official podcast of the Red Towel Trust Collective. Um, got to be there with Hank Wilson, Keith Wilcutt, and their wives that put this, just amazing event together. A lot of the Red Towel Trust Collective players were there, a ton of football players. I'm pretty sure nearly the entire basketball team. Coach Helton was there, Coach Lutz was there, and just a lot of like-minded fans and donors. Just a really special event. Got to hear several people get up and talk, including Malachi Corley and Dante Allen. Specifically talking about how the Red Towel Trust and the collective has affected them, in a positive manner. What it's helped them be able to do as student athletes, not just for themselves but their families. And just got to see a lot of just people that we don't always get to rub shoulders with. Got to see Tim McAllister. Obviously, we saw the coaches there. We saw Mr. Hunter Lee there, our weather forecaster. Always great to catch up with him and see him. Got to talk to several players just in passing. So just a really cool and fun event. Tyler, what were your thoughts, and how did you enjoy that event tonight?
I think it was awesome to get to see how the NIL affects some of these players and their personal lives. Like with Malachi sharing his story and Dante Allen sharing his. I think it's cool that people can get to help them students out because they are too busy to work a full-time job. They, as Helton said, his guys are up and at it from 6 in the morning till 10 at night. So, and then after 10, they have a little bit of time for themselves. But other than that, they're busting their butt. They're getting better, either in class, in the weight room, on the football field. or on the basketball court in Steve Lutz's case. But no, like it was really good. I got to see Randy Lee and Hal Schmidt. Got to talk to them, which was cool. I've been listening to them for years, so it's finally getting to meet them in person. Got to talk to Dalvin Smith, Nante Davis. Got to see him again. Got to see him in person for a second time, and boy, he is a big one, ain't he? I mean, that boy, he's going to cause ODU some problems in the bowl game. He already said it. He said they ain't nothing, and I take his word for it right there. But no, I think the Red Towel Trust launch party was a success, and I wish more people could have got to be there and see how it affects these student athletes. I wish I'd have gotten around and talked to some of the basketball players. I was really over there talking to the football players, which, hey, that's cool. But it would have been, I'm sure in the future I'll get to talk to Dante Allen and all of them, Rodney and Jalen. But no, I appreciate them having us out for that event. And it was just a great time to be there and see them and to spend some time with you, man. It's been a while since we got to see each other, so I'm glad you and your wife is good. So yeah, I mean I had a blast, and I know Jepson did too, because Jepson was there. He got to see some of the players that he looks up to, even though for some reason he was like, Marky Steps ain't as big as I thought he'd be. I was like, well, he would kill you on a football field, boy.
Yeah. Jepson was wild. Happy belated birthday to our boy Jepson. I'm sure he's listening. But yeah, the Red Towel Trust event was really cool. Like one of the speakers said, Gorman said, this was a launch party, but this Red Towel Trust Collective has been built from the ground up now for well over a year. So we were kind of launching the website, which was released November 1st, which was debuted there, and just exposing that to the general public. It's been promoted on Twitter, etc. And we really look forward to having many more of those type of exclusive type events for Red Towel Trust Collective members. So if you are interested, if you're listening, go to redtoweltrust.com. That's right. Got the inaugural towel right behind you. Go to redtoweltrust.com. Check out the website. Go check out the memberships. They have memberships starting as low as $5 a month. I mean, that's a cup of coffee per month. It's $60 a year. And they have levels that go all the way up to $100 a month. Each of those tiers are 4 tiers. They come with some perks depending on how high you go up into the donor pool. But all of them are going to give you exclusive access to student athletes and future events. I know next year, we've talked about being able to host some Red Towel Trust tailgates before football games, having exclusive member only access to that. And that would just be something that's really cool. Again, for as low as $5 a month, you can make a huge impact with Western Kentucky athletics and sports and these programs, because NIL is not going away. The face of college athletics and recruiting, and player retention, and just trying to backfill your rosters has changed, and it's not going backwards. The old traditional style of recruiting from high school and or JUCO and then transfer to plug some holes is it's outdated. Now your first option is transfer portal guys. You want to find some guys with college tape. You know what you're getting. You know what to expect, and they're going to be expecting to be paid what their value is. And these aren't players coming to Western Kentucky making millions of dollars. Like Hank Wilson was discussing tonight. Caleb Williams at USC is an exception to the rule. Somebody making millions compared to the Malachi Corleys and Dante Allens that are just making extra money so they can help out their families at home. Take care of themselves, take care of their bodies here while they're full-time student athletes. Like you said, their day starts at 6 a.m., ends at 10 p.m., and then they have some time for themselves. Before the football season started, we tried to get a couple of the guys on the podcast, and they sent me screenshots of their schedule. Hey, here's when I'm available. And I'm not kidding, between, practice and film study and just weightlifting and meeting groups, just etc. Everything they had, there was a couple, small breaks, an hour here, hour plus here, but those were usually meal breaks. They need to go refuel their body. So it's not a joke when you say, or anyone says that, being a student athlete is a full-time job in and of itself. Both you and I went to college just as regular students, you know, and taking, 12, 15, 18 hours, however many hours you were taking, that's enough, without having all these extra um, practice and weightlifting and study and just everything that you have to do to not only succeed on the field, but off the field and to excel as a student athlete. So, those guys are putting into work, representing this university the right way. And I'm, really hopeful and excited for what the Red Towel Trust is going to be able to do in the future to help us with those student athletes, because they've already done, a ton of good over the last couple of years, just helping us retain, even last year, Austin Reed entered the transfer portal. He came back. Malachi Corley mentioned, after last season, he had offers to play basically anywhere in the country. If you hear him tell it, he literally has schools offering him a blank paycheck. Come play for us. Could have went anywhere in the country. But that loyalty, that relationship, and quite frankly, our collective is what kept those guys here at Western Kentucky. And in the future, it's going to take more of that to not only retain guys that we already have on the rosters, but guys that we develop and recruit traditionally or bring in for transfer somewhere else that blossom into, the next whomever superstar. We're going to have to take care of those guys. And like Hank Wilson also mentioned, we do look forward to expanding, this collective option into our other sports, not just football, basketball, but volleyball, women's basketball, soccer, track, just all across the board with our athletics. We want to see, a high tide raise all the boats. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited for just our coaches, our student athletes, and just, where this initiative is going to take our athletics in the future, because we're way ahead of the curve. If you want to look at some of our conference peers, some of our G5 peers, even if you look at some P5 guys, they're not where we are. They may have more resources than us, more money in pockets, more donors, whatever. But as far as where our collective is and what things we're doing to take care of players and to attract players and to keep players, we're in a really good position. And that's why I'm always going to be confident in, if we lose some players in the portal, we're going to get some players back. We've seen that every single year. And I'm excited, for what the future holds. So, that's my final words. Our next episode will be a bowl game recap, or bowl game preview, rather, previewing that ODU famous Toastery Bowl coming up in just a couple weeks. So, Tyler, I guess hit us with your final words and take us the heck out of here.
No, harking back to the NIL money helping family. Whenever I was a college kid, I took 12, 15 hours a semester. I had a part-time job. I stayed busy, but it wasn't nothing like what some of these players are doing. Sacrificing their their health, days and nights to perfect their game and to help put Western on the map and to better themselves, to one day maybe get into the draft. I know some of them have draft aspirations of playing the pros, and I hope they get to fulfill them dreams. But man, I mean, it tonight opened my eyes to what the NIL can do for these players, and I'm definitely um, glad that I'm able to help out. Even though it may not be much, I'm still helping out a little bit, because these players, especially now with the way transfer portal is, to kind of echo what you said, um, everybody wants kind of the Caleb Williams money, but not everyone's going to get it. But man, that guy cries when he loses. I remember he lost a game. He went and cried to his mama. Like for real, for real. I'm sorry. I'm. That would be another tangent that I'm not going to jump on. But no, I'm hoping that that the Red Towel Trust Collective can grow, and we will be able to retain some of these players that are thinking about transferring out. And if they do, then like I said earlier, I hope the ones that transfer in only adds to and not take away, to paraphrase a previous basketball coach that we had. Um, I think because the way that our team is, our G5 teams are, we need all the help we can get, especially going against the P5s. Some do less with more. There's an in-state program over the last few years that's up north and kind of in the center of the state that has done less with more, and that's a direct shot at UK. I screw it. It's UK. Piss on them. But no, yeah, to hop off the NIL bandwagon, I think people need to think how they can help out. It ain't got to be a lot. Every little bit helps. They say the journey of a million miles starts with a single step. If even if you can do a donation at just a little bit, that's going to help out our programs and our student athletes. And then, hey, if you can only do the $5 a month plan, hey, over a year that's $60. You get 20 people doing the $5 a month, or 40, 60, 100. Over time that does add up. And then if you can do the 25, that just builds it up even quicker. But I'm glad that we're part of this organization. I guess, and I don't know if you say organization, the collective, because it's built up by the fans, is the way that I'm going to paraphrase what they said tonight. But no, these, we're going to play ODU here on the 18th, and if you take it to one of the players I'd listen to tonight, sorry, my cat is ringing a bell back behind me on the door. I talked to a football player tonight, and he said ODU don't want none. So, hey, I think we're a 2.5 point underdog in this game. That could change by the time we record next week, or whenever we record.
Fuck you mean?
They don't want this smoke, bruh. They don't want it. ODU, you was our conference opponent last year or 2 years ago. You left. Piss on you. You don't want it. This ain't the team that you was playing a little bit ago. I send that to everyone who jumped ship from Conference USA. You got Marshall. You don't want this smoke, bro. You just don't want it. Especially now with what's happening all on that Twitter thing that I won't jump into. But hey, piss on you, Marshall. I don't care. KD, you're cool, bro. But Nah, I guess I'm going to jump on off of this. Just be kind to one another, as I'm going to say right after I said piss on Marshall. Be kind to one another because we're all facing battles that no one knows about. And I hope everyone has a great holiday season. I'll probably talk to you again before Christmas. I'm definitely going to talk to you again before Christmas. So yeah, I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Spend some time with your family. Spend some time with people who matter. And with that, I will say, go Tops. And Moff, who has it better than us?
Nobody, buddy. You always know.
Go Tops.
Go Tops, guys. Later.